the CFO fandom is growing, not only because of LCP now, looking after multiple regions in one, obviously VCS, LJL, OCE combined with it. OCE includes New Zealand as well. Shout out to New Zealand. Everyone forgets New Zealand, Orcs.
I didn't forget New Zealand.
No, but you didn't go, did you, when you went down?
No.
Did you go to New Zealand?
No.
It's
My parents went to New Zealand, they had a nice trip there.
New Zealand is actually goated. I'm an Australian, but I like New Zealand more than Australia.
Whoa.
And look, I'll tell you why.
You already annoyed Atlas so much yesterday. You're gonna be bothering him.
Look, we bag out people from New Zealand, but it's just such a lovely place. And there's not many people there, and I think that's always nice.
There's hobbits there.
There's hobbits there. There are hobbits there. I want to apologize to any nocturnals I offended yesterday. Any marsupials.
Like, I can be honest.
They're not the same thing. Marsupials and nocturnals aren't the same thing. I had a brain.
If you had to apologize for everything you said on cast, we'd be here all day.
Oh, we would be listing it out. And mostly I want to apologize to Atlas just for letting him down as another Australian. Well, we'll hold aside because we're finally back in the game, if you couldn't already get that by the game sounds. But 2 minutes deep, Orcs said it. MCOY need to get the ball rolling soon. And in the early game, it's going to be really important. 2v2 is quite impactful as scaling from Super, but Nico always changes the lane, but a flash engage, Super in trouble. Ignite down, double shattering strike, deadly flash. Oh no, flashing in front, Doggo, no. Oh. Super can't escape.
Really clutch play there from CFO, managing to push the wave a little bit quicker. Doggo got the bouncing grenade in, and then that level 2 hits faster. Super had Ghost, didn't have cleanse, gets caught out. You saw Alvaro went for the minion there, but was too little too late, and that is such a bad start to the game for the bot lane.
Maybe don't.
Movistar Koi.
Level 3 hit from Hong Q, but look, pushing up to the wave. There's going to be an instant flash. Justice punch, but a quick stand, and under the gravity field, Hong Q feels okay. He's burned his flash at the cost of one from Jojo.
I still think you'd be okay with how the gank went, right? You got the flash from the Victor, return gank, likely to be successful. But a good play from Hong Q there to avoid going down. But as I said, this is kind of what I see being the win con for MCOY, is that you put pressure on the Victor, find opportunities for to put that pressure. He is now being ganked, though.
Vice versa for the pressure. Justice punch, but in the way. Kaiwing, great gank. Another shattering strike. Gravity field gets the slow, and Jojo's getting whittled down. Kaiwing, 2 out of 2 KP. This guy is rearing the early game.
Such a good start for CFO. And we see here, so I think maybe Super goes for the Q there. Not enough damage done to the minions. Maybe a bit too much focus on the poke from Alvaro, and then Super just gets demolished there. Dug over the great flash over the root there to finish off the kill. And the fact that you get that kill, then Kaiwing moves mid, gets killed there as well. Phenomenal start. Already CFO 2 on the board, about 1,000 gold lead. This is the start they really want.
2 for their carries that are going to play so well on zone control as well that we talked about in draft. So it was like early game is now really chill, and the onus is on MCOY. We've already said it. MCOY need to really get the ball rolling, and so for CFO, if they can mitigate that in the first 15, 20 minutes, I just feel like some of these kills add a lot of pressure that Koi might not be able to deal with.
Yeah, you see top lane's been pretty chill so far. I think Driver doing a pretty good job of just farming in the matchup. Not the most fun playing into range top laners. I'm sure every top laner knows that experience.
I've seen this matchup get bodied from the Rumble's perspective, so the fact he's actually up in CS, even early game, kind of nice.
Doing pretty good. And I think, if the game does end up in a neutral state, it's not like it's over for Movistar Koi, because if they get a big engage on the right targets, that's fantastic. But a lot of their picks will feel a lot more flat if they are behind, or even just even doesn't feel as inspiring. You see CFO with a lot of control in this lane right now. Still early days. We do have that flash from Hongkyu about halfway off cooldown. I really want to see some window where Movistar Koi look to capitalize on the punish, but in return...
Jojo's in trouble again. He still doesn't have that flash. The Justice Punch is interrupted, and against the wall he will stand. Ishal's warm embrace leads to another kill. This time one over to Junja. Elyoy is trying to get something back, but with no red buff, no real damage onto this Scorpion. It's trouble as Alvaro, he's locked in place again. It's another great shattering strike. A quick cleanse away from the Tangle Barbs, and at least something back for MCOY, but there is nothing going right here for the Spaniards in this game.
I'm talking about how I think the focus was really needed to be on this Victor without the flash. it was MCOY who went for that first gank, who burnt the Victor's flash, and yet the return has been from CFO. They just keep punishing the fact that Jojopion flashed early, and here he's playing a melee champion into the Skarner, tries to sort of use his dash into him, just gets pulled into the wall, immediately goes down. He is having such a rough game, and if your Galio falls behind, gets trapped in lane, the comp's going to start to fall apart.
If this Victor could just start one-shotting waves earlier than expected.
I mean, he already has that lost chapter.
Yeah.
Really nice to get that one down early on. Not too long until his flash is available as well, so I mean, he's fine just wave clearing, you know, and the wave, it consistently feels like whenever we look towards mid, the wave is in an uncomfortable spot for Jojopion. He has to be pushed up as a melee champion. Puts him in a threatening spot, an uncomfortable position now. Alvaro hovering.
If he gets Tangle Barb, something could be done. Remember that Galio has ult, so we're just talking about how Jojo's in a rough spot, but now he can move the map. Now if he sacks the wave, something else can be done elsewhere. The CFO covering well, they're not overstepping, and as they hover around top side, it's a minute 10 till grubs spawn. That's why Gen.G now looking for his level 6 so that he can have the similar impact as Oyster rushes there too.
Felt like there was a bit of a bait there from Alvaro to try and set up, but Kaiwing just does not fall for it.
Yeah.
Has the backup from his jungle a little bit later, so still a solid lead there for the side of CFO. And I think really they're fine just chilling out now. Gen.G as well has the early double giant spell, so he's super bulky already at this point if we enter those early skirmishes.
Oh, Chaos Storm just going to be used out the chunk. Jojo has no TP, so he's walking back here.
Man.
And the timing could not be worse here. Dragon, Grubs, take your pick here as Gen.G has now hit level 6 as well.
And he's just going to be trapped in lane. You know, if you're not able to move, you know, the matchup we have, the Aurora against the Rumble, has been pretty neutered, right? Driver has the Merc Treads, so a bit of extra magic resist, and he's actually been having an advantage recently. The bot lane matchup, Doggo and Kaiwing have been playing really well, so you know, if you're not able to unlock that Galio, CFO is going to be able to play the game at their pace. And speaking of which, they are starting up this Dragon. I don't think any contest is going to come through.
And nothing happens topside in the meantime. It's not like Elyoya is trading with his ult now available. Maybe there's something that can be done for the bot lane that's slowly pushing in. You can see Jojo is also hovering, but pings are going down. CFO are not overstepping. They know that this Galio really needs to move to get the game back on MCOY's side, but they're being really cautious here. You can see, look, Doggo's just stepping back, and River's just going to be given over to MCOY in the interim. Curtain call. Alvaro, flash, engage, Magnet Storm. Keeps in place, it even matches the flash to predict for the third shot. MCOY, it's now 0-4. Yes, Grubs will be taken, but look at Mirwin Pot. It's turning into a dive. An easy kill. We don't even need to see it because it was a one tick, and CFO are going to find plating through bot. The push in top. Grubs are the only retribution that MCOY are going to be sitting on.
It's just disaster after disaster right now for the side of MCOY. I mean, you know, trading the Grubs, losing Mirren on the bot side, like, that can happen, right? You know, the counter punch comes in, but the fact that Alvaro dies there, the setup from Kaiwing Doggo, they've just had their number in the bot lane 2v2, the confidence to go for that play. And typically, Nico is one of these picks where it's not that easy to pin it down, right? When she has that W, when she has that clone to sort of give us some space with the movement speed and with the disruption. But Kaiwing has just never hesitated when going for this Nico and constantly found angles. And there, the fact that the flash was burned and that shot still connected.
Okay. We're going to have a bit of Sky falling onto Driver. Flash away. A stun. Alvaro's here, but Tangle Barbs doesn't connect, so the damage is not going to follow up. Super also ghosted to try and be in range, but because no CC landed, there's no killer instinct.
Yeah, it didn't have the follow-up in time, and this feels so bad because you're committing a big cooldown, you're committing your junglers to the top side. Sure, they'll be able to get some plates, but you know, it's not really that big of an advantage. And also, there's a limit to how much they can push because Driver's ult is coming up soon. So, you know, they'll push this wave in. They can't take any more because the next wave, Driver can just ult it if he really wants to. Whereas Doggo and Kaiwing, they can continue to zone Mirwin away here.
It remains a 2K for now. That's the lead. Super getting this with 3 Grubs, yeah. It's getting more and more positive as they stay isolated, but Jojo now hovering up. Honkyou on the way. Junja's just going to push him back, and Jojo gets away unscathed.
Okay, looks like ult was a little bit further away than I thought it was. So
yeah.
They're going to clear this wave. They will actually get some more plates. So actually working out better for MCOY than I thought it would. Driver does have his ult now, though, so that's where the push ends. So actually, working out pretty positively for MCOY, all things considered.
Jojo stepping forward through the gravity field was also a nice play, but again, Ishtal's impact gets him in range, and Judge's now looking, impale out, yes, in the Justice Punch with the Chaos Storm on top, layered well, he flashes as Hong Q already locks on.
2 times in a row we've seen MCOY members flash and still go down. It's got to feel bad, and CFO 6 on the board at this point, and 2 kills in both their carries, 2 on the Skarner. He's going to be super bulky later in this game.
It's a 1K gold lead on Hong Q. I mean, this is the dude that gave Faker a run for his money in that best of 5. And everyone's saying he's a prodigy. Like, we're going to keep an eye on this kid. He's so young, but he's so talented. 1K gold lead on Victor already, with a Blackfire Torch that's going to shred through this tank Galio and any other bruiser on the side of MCOY. It is a bit of a disaster in the early game. It is encroaching 3,000 in the lead here for the LCP representative, and more importantly for MCOY. They have not been able to use these semi-globals in succession orcs, like the Aurora laid with Galio, laid with Pantheon, the Nico ult. I mean, I've never seen everything on top.
We saw one Pantheon ult, didn't really do anything. Galio ult hasn't come through yet. The Nico's only just gotten ult.
Aurora's been cooked in lane.
They're already so far behind where it feels like, if you end up at a 5v5, you have such a disadvantage, it's going to be a struggle to pull things off. They need to kind of use these tools to find numbers advantages, and it feels really bad to be at 12 minutes and already talking about, hey, we're so far behind, we have to kind of navigate things well. They are looking.
Magnus Storm, Deadly Flourish doesn't connect. Here's a curtain call, but Driver's burning them down. Okay, no skewer combo here available, but the Equalizer now used. Kaiwing will be a trade for MCOY's first kill. We sit 1-7, but Brazil's not showing up to this game. We'll hold for a second as Mirwin teleports in. It is just a simple trade for now.
Doesn't feel too great, though. I mean, normally if you're trading when you're behind...
Face checking into a Skarner. Flash away from Elyoya for the red buff. Okay, but Mirwin needs to pull his weight. Puts the Between Worlds up to get a shutdown. Elyoya is still alive, and red buff is doing a great job. But Junja, as he finally autos away with his passive, will make it another trade. Teleport up from Hongkyu. Want to bring the fight into full succession as top wave goes down, or rather Turret. Super picking up the gold for the trade. When you're 3,000 gold behind, now you're only 2 orcs. I think you just take what you can get.
I think a little bit better. I was saying before, the 1-for-1 trade, considering they committed a TP and a Galliwell, doesn't feel as good. But getting another kill trade, Jojo Pin's gonna get some plates here. I think MCOY feeling a bit better. They are now on the board. The gold lead closing a decent amount. Needed to get some kills, and they have gotten that. So
2 plates as well for Jojo, and Jojo was 1,000 gold behind. He's just picked up 300 from these plates.
Yeah, close a lot of distance, and Honkyu's stepping up massively.
He is, and his gravity field's down. Alvaro coming in, Tangle Barbs at more range, doesn't connect. Honky turns around with a Chaos Storm onto this Nico. No kill threat just yet, but it's enough to send Alvaro away. Yeah,
I think even if the root had connected, the ult wasn't there for the Nico, so probably wouldn't have been a kill, but would have chunked him out more, maybe could have set up for that dragon. But to be honest, I think when you're still a bit behind, it's fine just to let this one go. It's only the second dragon of the game. Obviously, it doesn't feel good to give it over, but I think wait until you're in a better position to fight.
Yeah. Super. Has to be careful. Kaiwing has his flash available. He's going to second skin away from that, rather. The supercharged route. Junja is looking for Jojo again. Jojo giving up the wave, giving up the pressure, and with it, Hongkyu will be able to match that first turret that MCOY obviously found in top.
Yeah, we'll open up the lead a little bit more and getting that dragon as well. CFO still definitely ahead in this game. And Hongkyu the most ahead on this Victor in a comfortable spot. I think as well, another thing to be mentioned with this composition that MCOY have, it's really important that when you're going into big fights, what you are going to start seeing as we get later in the game, right? Second dragon taken, next will be that third, that sole point.
Yeah.
Having Summoner's Bin. And if you can find like small scraps, maybe it's like an even trade, like a 1-for-1, or just like a quick engage where you get a summoner spell, can be so good to find that before a big fight starts. A minute or 2 before it starts, that a cleanse or a flash isn't available. Because if you go into a big 5v5 and Hongkyu and Doggo have flash, you're probably just going to lose.
Because we spruiked about MCOY being all in and like their committal engage, but the carries on CFO are not mobile.
Yeah.
So further to your point, those summoners are going to mean so much here, as Koi are going to be picking up the Herald, but CFO want to contest it, bring in the fight. Smite comes down, and Elyoya has it in hand, but Junja with an Impale ready, wants to come in. Driver flashed over the wall for this. He's going to equalize down as EWC is the only one cooking for now. Pop Blossom off the side, hits no one between worlds. Doesn't do much, but the Magnustorm does. Keeps him in places. Kaiwing is a nuisance against the wall. Junja doing the same with an Impale. A scrappy, messy fight with a Chaos Storm, shredding down and charging everyone. An order that won't reach to full fruition as Koi are left with 4. It's only EWC for the Herald being the full trade, but I correct myself because that Rel dropped in the interim.
Yeah, ends up being a 1-for-1, and they got the Herald, so I think they're pretty okay with how that one went. Looked a bit scary. There was definitely a point there where it was a bit concerning. MCOY able to navigate that one pretty well, all things considered. They do end up getting this. I think some abilities whip. That's something to be said for MCOY. It could have actually gone better for them, but you see Alvaro's ult doesn't actually connect onto anyone. It's used a little bit defensively. Doesn't actually clip on the driver. And then the pawn from the Galio here, trying to get as many targets as possible. I think only gets Hongq here. Oh, it does get Gen.G as well, actually, but, you know, was maybe looking for Doggo too.
Wait. Did you watch Super in that? Super just dodged everything.
He was pretty clean.
I feel like he's the reason that they got the try. I mean, he definitely was. He ulted into the back. And, yeah, 1,800 damage out of the Kai'Sa when Pantheon obviously is going to hit higher damage earlier on in the game. That's something to look forward to for MCOY fans if they can find another fight like that where they skirt around.
And the thing is now, you don't have Cleanse and Doggo, flash down on Driver and Kaiwing. Obviously, Hongq and Doggo style flashes, not ideal. You really wanted those to be down, but some targets you can set up plays on for the side of MCOY. You can find engages onto. Now, though, CFO looking for this mid-tower. TP coming in to defend.
The Roar, but Pantheon's going to turn into a fight. EWC just runs in front of Kaiwing, no Shattering Strike, but EWC's ulti is now down. Nothing is up off the back of MCOY to move to.
A lot of resources committed to defend that tower, and it still took a good amount of damage. I don't know how much longer you can really maintain this, but for now, that tier 1 tower is live. You'll see, though, Driver's moved over. They're pushing on this weight. I think this might just be gone.
With Equalizer, I think so. Might not have grubs, but they'll have the damage here as MCOY don't dare to step up. Jojo also on a ward as he came in for his flank. There's the turret. Mid is now open. Gold is still growing for CFO.
You can see, just if you look at the minimap, there's some fantastic vision control around mid. There's like 4 control wards all around. And, you know, you'd think with, like, you know, Mira and the fact he was there, if he'd stuck around, there just was no... The vision denial was so good that there's no way he could stick around and kind of punish that turret push. So really good homework from CFO to make sure they could go for that turret without the threat of like an engage or a dive. So a lot of times teams, you know, they heavily go for that mid-tier 1 and they end up getting punished for it.
He's checking for the wave. Driver walks in. He only thought Jojo's there, but it's EWC covering his mid laner. That's an important kill. And a wave denied.
Good kill picked up, and you know, more picks they get like this. We talked about the gold lead being pretty significant. It was like, was 2-3K way earlier in the game at about 12 minutes. Now only 1,000 at 18. That gold lead being closed quite substantially, and still, there's still bounties on Skarner, Victor, and Jin. One team fight could really turn this in favor of Movistar Koi.
And Super's actually up in gold. Now Quinsu's picked up, by the way, second item. So if any of those shutdowns go over to Super, he's going to be leading the charge. He's going to be onto that third item quicker, and that poke Kai'Sa will be online.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big spike for the Kai'Sa, the 2 items. Whereas with the Jin, the Ghostblade Rapid Fire doesn't feel as good. The 3 is really where you start to feel, you know, when you get the Infinity Edge.
Infinity Edge, yeah.
Yeah, so they're feeling confident leading into this Dragon. This is third for CFO. It is a Chem Tech, so the highest priority soul, but we're probably trying to find some setup here.
All about Alvaro with the Tangle Barbs as well. Make sure you watch Super as Kaiwing's engages have been the fear for MCOY. The support of CFO has been carrying through the last couple of fights. And don't forget, Hongq stronger than maybe you'd expect here on the Victor, as he's found such an early gold lead. Mid versus top right now in the bot wave, matching each other as Super's hitting mid wave, but CFO are in river first.
You see Kaiwing just trying to threaten Jojo Pion here. But just lose some pressure towards, you know, that banana brush. MCOY trying to get some mid priority, trying to move in, but CFO holding strong, denying them access to the area. And I think, you know, the fact they're trying to push through that one choke, really difficult into Victor, into Rumble, into Rel. Ideally, they want to find people coming on flank angles, and they haven't really had a chance to do that so far. Now, though, just moving up towards... They're going for the Anakin. They're actually throwing Herald down?
He's saying forget it.
That.
What do you think?
Did he mean a sweep? I wonder, because I feel like throwing the Herald down kind of gives away the play.
Yeah.
But that just, I mean, the Kaiser does a lot of single target damage. Maybe he's just trying to distract them. Only Kaiwing is here. It's not Spellbook Rel, so no chance to steal. I think this is a really good trade. So, good move from MCOY. I mean, it's just a third dragon, right? And it's only a Chemtech Soul. If CFO do get Chemtech Soul, it's not the end of the world, and they don't have it yet. And they pick up that the Atacam for free. It's a lot of XP. It's a lot of stats as well. You can
17
see,
flowers, by the way. That was what they got.
Yeah, you can see now super higher level than Doggo. Jojopion higher level than Honkyu. It was a big influx. So actually a really heads-up play from MCOY there. Just to say, you know, we can't find an angle into this river, into this dragon fight. We'll take this instead.
And the wait till Jojo's at two and a bit items as well, and that'll be around the fourth dragon rather, as there's no turret here, so Junja's going to bring AG.AL's impact into it with an Impale up and available, waiting for max range. Jojo's getting help with a TP from his ally as well, but Alvaro's also on the way. Shield of Duran gets two, and Driver isolated, getting burnt down between worlds. All they need is a Pop Blossom, and they'll get it from Alvarito. Merlin zones off the rest, and MCOY know that CFO won't dare show their face for the rest of the fight.
Huge counterpunch, and for the first time in a while, MCOY have a gold lead.
Angle Barbs, also Super in, ulti's in with a killer instinct, flashes the Magnet Storm! Super avoids it all, a Shattering Strike, yes, but no curtain call. Doggo in the back, interrupted by El Yoya, and even though the flash won't work out, coming close, MCOY are back in this game.
Now with a significant lead, finding a great fight, the attempt to punish Jojopion there, maybe as a response, losing the Arakan. CFO feeling some regret after that one, but they disrespect the composition of Movistar Koi, the speed at which they can join into a fight, and also the engage potential. They get caught up in it, and they get punished swiftly, and now losing turrets across the map. This gold lead just ballooning for Movistar Koi.
Those three grubs are now paying dividends. It was a big investment, as Jojo's not going to get Deadly Flourish. She's fine to walk it out. But as you said, I mean, the Atacans obviously made a big difference here, but they overestimated their damage onto Jojo.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with the Galio, you're quite tanky. You can also reduce a lot of damage, and Driver's waiting for cooldowns. The Taunt also gives a damage reduction. Muin gets in just so much damage to Driver, who has to flash kind of into him to get away from the other targets. And the ult that comes out from Alvaro is massive.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, you think the play's done, but Honkyu walks up here, ends up getting fought out again. Alvaro with a huge play. Super goes in with the confidence, dodges the Magna Storm. And honestly, the only saving grace here is that Doggo doesn't go down, but it was so close.
They're back in this. 3K gold lead now squandered, now lost, now everything hurting for CFO. Their early game, so brilliant, so clean, really. Honkyu had such a lead, but all I see at the bottom is blue. All I see is once again Koi in a position to come back. And
now flashes down for every member of CFO. Those engages from Movistar Koi are going to stick.
As we talked about, the immobility to hurt CFO. Baron's up in a minute 5. That's the next objective to look towards. And remember, Dragon spawns 45 seconds past it. So if CFO can maybe, just maybe delay Dragon enough, or rather delay the Baron enough, I should say, then we have those objectives up at the same time. Maybe it's a solo angle, maybe an early Elder. I don't know what you think of early Elder, who it favors. Maybe it actually favors MCOY.
I think it's hard to say at this point. Yeah, I think it's difficult. I mean, it's so hard playing around Elder because it makes it so flippy.
True.
Especially in a best of one where it's do or die, you know? It's a delicate situation to be in. Honestly, I think the early Elder favors whoever has control of the game at that point, because it's going to be really hard to contest. Right now, Movistar Koi have control of the game. You can see CFO a bit on the back foot, kind of pushing and get some vision that is now being swept out. I think Movistar Koi might just look to threaten Baron as soon as it's up and available and force CFO to come in and set up that engage.
Baron's there now. 43, top right, you see it. That'll be next. CFO are hovering top, though, and Jojo, as he gets pushed in bot, there will have to be some attention from Driver, who's just picked up his Bloodletter's Curse, to go bot and receive that wave. But CFO, after they do their due diligence, they're going to get into River and get their wards down. Timing's going to be everything. As you said, it's best of one, but at 25 minutes, it is leaning towards MCOY with a 2,500 gold lead, with a couple extra flowers that they found from the kills as well. They're in the driver's seat here as they approach third items on some big carries.
Yeah, I will say though, the Baron Pit, Victor gets so much value, Rumble gets so much value, especially with the terrain of the Rift. So Dragon is spawning, let it go. This is what they're doing, they get him some vision in the Baron area. It's the first Dragon for Movistar Koi. It's meaningless at this point of the game. So I think this is the right call. You just try and get a little bit of extra vision around the Baron area, you give up the Dragon, and more importantly, you wait for those flashes to be back up and available, which are coming up soon. I think really CFO playing around the summoners is very important, and if you're going to get back in this game, if you're going to get pressure again, get control again, it's going to be around Movistar Koi being in a scenario where they're in a choke point like that Baron Pit, and you just punish them. You take advantage of that AoE that they have in those solo laners.
Just a side note before we get to that fight. Super has gone Terminus third item, so it's not like he's got, you know, Nashes for enhanced W, for upgraded W. But Terminus means that the dueling power, the on-hit, is still very potent here, and Super, obviously, we've talked about how he wants to dive in. Makes his job a little bit easy here.
I mean, he also has so much objective damage.
He really does, yeah. That also helps a lot. Upgraded boots as well. Yeah, Super. He's hitting like the Flash. I don't know what the Flash is. I've never watched it, but I assume that guy hits hard, you know? At the move speed he's got.
He does hit.
Does he hit hard? Does he hit people? Is that what the Flash does?
Well, yeah, he can. He hits pretty fast, and, you know, things that go fast.
Yeah, like some science. There's science.
Yeah. Force equals mass times acceleration.
Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah, science lessons with Jake.
Okay, get to it. Orcs. That river is quite dark, and Baron is starting up ever so slowly from El Yoya.
Yeah, not too much damage on it yet.
Super's pulling off. They're trying to draw him in. Trying to draw CFO in. Tangle Barb doesn't connect. Junja walking into the choke as well. Remember, Super. That W doesn't connect, no upgrade either. Jojo coming in from an angle, but he's spotted out as well. So CFO alleviated from some of the pressure as Alvaro tries to get the ward over the wall. But again, good defense here of their scrimmage line from CFO.
Definitely feels like the...
This is also under turret, but Jojo doesn't really care. In fact, Driver just does not do that much damage to him.
I think it's always scary playing the side lane in this situation because they could just have Super Alluria come in, you know? And you see both of them actually moving over now.
Good timing.
Yeah, and if Driver ends up overextending, he could die, and I don't think that CFO are quick enough to get in position around the Baron, start the Baron up, and finish the Baron before the response comes through. So he ends up having to back away. They get this tier 2 tower. And I feel like the game has slowed down recently. It's been MCOY just trying to find an angle to push the game further, and really CFO are holding on pretty well, but they do find a little bit of an advantage there. Now, Junja is very
on a ward,
position.
On a ward with a Tangle Barb as well. There's 3 members on him now, 4, thanks to the Skyfall from El Yoya, and Junja taking a killer instinct, can't get his impale. Super will take opening kill as Kaiwing got chunked heavy. Mirwin jumps into a Chaos Storm to a Gravity Field, now flashes away from everything launched at him between worlds to escape from the curtain call. MCOY have burned a little bit, but CFO used a lot to try and get something back. Yeah,
and now El Yoya's going to pick up the Honey Fruit. The TP's there for Mirwin, and without the jungler, the DPS of Super, they can just take this Baron with complete confidence. Those ults not being available for CFO, I think, makes them a bit too weak in this fight.
Mirwin's backing away, but he's got teleport instantly channeled as he returns. 3K, 3.5. El Yoya zoned off. Flashes in, Doggo cleansing out, but at the back of the fight, there's Jojo! Galio waits, and he receives Honkyu with a trade onto Alvaro, but even though it looks like a 1-for-1, Baron still goes down to MCOY. Their return in this game now, more than just the reality.
A lot of correct decisions made by Movistar Koi in this situation. The confidence just to start it up, even with 4 members of CFO alive. They knew those ults were down, the jungler's not available. Ends up being that 1-for-1 on the back end. But they get the Baron, they get what they want, and they'll take another tower. They are looking towards that top lane, tier 2 as well. And the gold lead is just getting bigger and bigger.
Everything for Super. And as you can see, he's playing well. I think at MSI, same could be said that Super was really a shining light when Alvaro and El Yoya weren't coming online as a duo. this game can give you a bit of a story to talk about with mid-jungle, or rather jungle support. But let's look again, because Junja sees, hang on a minute, I see a control ward. Where is everyone?
Yeah, I think just a bit of overconfidence because he saw that bot side lead. But the thing is, into this composition, so much engage potential and so much ability for not only the Pantheon to come on in, but the chase potential of the Kai'Sa. And Super's damage now to cut through even a tankier member like the Skarner. It was like paper. And then here, they try to do the counter punch, but they don't really succeed because they get Elyoya low, but the Honey Fruit's there to heal. They get Mirwin low, but he just TPs back in. And then here, that flank from Jojopion, so powerful to find Doggo. Yes, they lose Alvaro, but it's completely fine trade to make.
3k damage from a single fight. He's been glazed enough this game. And Super's going to take Chemtra Drake number 2. I mean, just bonus tenacity feels nice, but we're not going to see another at this rate because CFO, on their dying breath, 8,000 gold disadvantage. Their base getting rammed in from 3 different lanes.
Yeah, and now we have like a 2-level lead between AD carriers, between mid laners. It's not just the goal, but also those advantages. We have the feats of strength, the boots, right? The extra stats from the pedals.
Yeah.
There's so much going in favor of Movistar KOI right now. And you think how badly the game started, how CFO had a big advantage. You know, it's so hard to bounce back when it is that high pressure best of one, but Movistar KOI have managed to do so. And
Impale.
find an ult.
A reward with Deadly Flourish, but can they kill Jojo up against the turret? Another Ishkal's impact, that's nice. Shut down. MCOY stepped a bit far forward, but now that the turret's down, their leaning capabilities to CFO are minimized as Curtain Call's running into a simple clone. Elyoya for the 4th shot will dodge to the right and it wins out. So MCOY are going to lose one. They open up the turret, but that's their siege coming to an end.
Yes, they'll have to respect the CC potential of CFO.
Oi, don't do it.
Jojopion oversteps there, and you know, if Hongyu dropped that Arcane Storm, I think he was looking for that next target to try and get the reset. Could have been big. Just didn't expect to be grabbed from over the wall there. And Hongyu was moving over, and then I think he was waiting for Elyoya to potentially get a bit lower if he was going to Arcane Storm. If that had opened up, it could have been so much worse, but I think Movistar KOI managed to disengage from the situation, but it does buy time and sort of stall out the rest of their Baron buff.
Yeah. Ulti. Grand Skyfall. Starfall rather comes in. Kaiwing, though, he's dismounted, so he's slow as anything. Pop Blossom over the wall also gets Junja, and Kaiwing, he's going to flush, but still to his death. Alvaro dies to Hongyu. That's a 1-for-1 as Elyoya has to commit hard. Look towards the right side of your screen, and Super is a new target, and Junja finds him, and a wall! Another shutdown to the Victor, and MCOY, this game is not in the bag yet. They are throwing it away.
Starting to make some big errors, you know. I think the Jojopion death was excusable. Oh.
Mirwin has him. Again,
down in
is there enough
numbers.
damage? That's the biggest question. Equalizer comes down. Elyoya is going to trail to the right. Runs down river. No Deadly Flourish means that he can get away. Jojo, he's in position for a heroic entrance, but Mirwin will not give him one.
There's nothing to play for right now, you know, for Movistar KOI. You've lost 2 members. Just back away. Just wait for time. You know, your super strong Kai'Sa isn't on the map right now. I think the Jojopion death was excusable. You know, he got caught over the wall. It was a nice pick. But here, this just felt a little bit overzealous. You know, they look for Kaiwing, they don't connect. Super ulting in here, focusing this Rel, who is still quite tanky despite being behind. And then Super ends up right next to Skarner, right next to the Victor. A dangerous position to be in, and does pay for it.
Again, Junja.
And look at that 1,087 gold over to the Victor there.
He keeps setting up his team, and I mean, he sets up 2 kills for Hongyu. Hongyu is now almost at 4 items. This Victor has the capability to do what we set out here today in this draft. The big AoEs orcs, they're still trailing to that point. There's an Infinity Edge on Jin as well. Like, if KOI keep making these mistakes, these fights are going to turn into next Baron, into Soul, into a return for CFO.
I think it's clear that, you know, Movistar KOI are ahead. They have advantages, but if they mess up their win cons in the team fight, they can still lose. It's still very possible, right? And that Victor is very strong, so you can't just think, right, we're this far ahead, the game is done. You know, you have to be crisp, you have to be clean throughout, and you don't get a second chance on this. So you just sharpen up for the rest of this one. Elyoya is waiting in the wings. We'll find Kaiwing, but not really able to threaten each other too much now. We do have Baron coming up in about 35 seconds. Next objective on the map. And they did a good job of setting up around that the last time.
Yeah.
We'll see if they can find an angle again.
This tells Impact being geared up for Junja. He's thinking about it as Elyoya is trying to steal his red buff away. Mirwin off to an angle. He was on a ward, but he retreats as Smite secures for Gen.G. Just what he can, and a red buff for the whole team is definitely impactful. 10 seconds till Baron, 50 until Dragon. The turning point for either team. The finisher maybe if MCOY can get the Baron and get their siege back on. That's what's on the line.
I think CFO have done such a good job of just this defensive play, considering like they have had a big deficit. And yes, there have been some moments that MCOY have picked up big leads, but you know, some teams would have just crumbled under pressure and the game would have been over by now. The fact they managed to get these counter punches, game is still going, there is still hope. Dragon in 20 seconds, there will then be 2 objectives up on the map, and we'll see how Sakura play around that.
Mirwin has to be careful. Gen.G. is angling for it as well. Kaiwing doesn't have his flash available, but he has a Magnet Storm, and you can see. Steps forward, he looks for that pick. Someone caught out of whack, and that's how dangerous it is for MCOY. They're going to get mid-push. They move to bot. TP in from Jojo. An angle here. Gen.G and Driver moving into position, but Jojo is spotted out. The winds of war fly swift. But Driver and Gen.G are unaffected as Dragon starts again.
You see Jojo playing in a great spot with that Mega Blast Cone. Trying to look for an angle. Look at Doggo.
Shield to Duran. He wants to go in. The flash and the setup from Mirwin. It's gorgeous. MCOY now have all the AoE. Super runs on in, and the comeback be damned. MCOY silence the doubt and bring us back to a 1-game win.
Beautiful engage the flank from the solo laners, and Super with the final punch to finish it off. Movistar will not be going home, and they'll deliver the death blow to CFO.
The LCP will, though, in full completion. Gam, now CTBC flying Oyster, but Koi get their revenge for MSI and qualify to the quarterfinals at EWC.
And just so much resilience shown in a game